looking steadier than last year. The outcome of the second quarter surprised on the upside, and the third quarter indicators are looking broadly positive. Our 2025 growth forecast has therefore been revised slightly higher to 1.3%. We continue to see growth nearing 2% over the forecast horizon. Employment has also been rising. Household spending has been relatively strong to date, supported by wealth effects, further withdrawals from two-pot pension savings, and lower inflation and interest rates. At the same time, investment has disappointed, falling further in the first half of the year. We expect an investment recovery in the second half. If this materializes, it will be an encouraging signal that the economy is getting back to its historic growth trend. As it stands, growth is better, but not yet healthy. The risks to the growth outlook are assessed as balanced. Moving to prices, inflation has accelerated somewhat over the past few months, reaching 3.6% for October. This is higher than the 3% average for the first half of the year. The uptick is due to non-core items, mainly meat, vegetables, and fuel. We continue to see this pressure as temporary, with inflation heading lower again from the beginning of next year. Indeed, recent outcomes have undershot our forecasts slightly. Because of these downside surprises, together with a stronger rand and a lower oil price assumption, we have small downward revisions to our inflation outlook for both 2025 and 2026. We remain on track to deliver 3% inflation over the medium term. For inflation expectations, we do not have an update from our usual survey at this meeting, but market rates and surveys of analysts both show further progress towards the 3% objective. Core goods prices are benefiting from exchange rate strength. Food price inflation seems to have peaked, although we have a small upward revision to this forecast, mainly from beef prices. Services inflation is unchanged from the last meeting. The announced medical aid increases are lower than last year's. At the same time, housing inflation has accelerated, which warrants ongoing scrutiny. We assess the risks to the inflation outlook as balanced. Against this backdrop, the MPC decided to reduce the policy rate by 25 basis points to 6.75% with effect from the 20th of November. The decision was unanimous. Members agreed there was scope now to make the policy stance less restrictive in the context of an improved inflation outlook. The quarterly projection model continues to forecast gradual rate cuts as inflation subsides. As before, this rate path remains a broad policy guide. Our decisions will continue to be taken on a meeting-by-meeting basis with careful attention to the outlook, data outcomes, and the balance of risks to the forecast. For this meeting, we considered two risk scenarios. The first scenario featured a US dollar rebound, recognizing that while the rand has appreciated this year, this partly reflects broad dollar weakness, not just rand strength. In this scenario, the rand depreciates back to its 2023 levels against the dollar, rather than holding on to its recent gains as in our baseline. The second scenario was based on higher administered prices linked to a rapid correction of the 54 billion rand electricity price error disclosed a few months back. The scenario also had inflation expectations staying higher for longer in response. Both scenarios featured tighter monetary policy with rates coming down more slowly compared to the baseline. The administered price scenario is, in particular, shows that if price setters take on board the 3% target, we will have space to get to lower rates faster. This brings us to the subject of the new target. As announced last week, we have moved away from the 3 to 6% target range, which was established 25 years ago. The revised target agreed between the Minister of Finance and myself as the Governor of the South African Reserve Bank is 3% plus or minus 1 percentage point. As we move from a range target to a point target with a tolerance band, it is important to understand that what the new target means. The tolerance band of 1 percentage point on either side of 3% does not mean we will be indifferent to inflation anywhere between 2% and 4%. We want to be at 3%. However, no central bank has the tools to deliver inflation at an exact point all the time. As flexible inflation targeters, we also recognize that trying to offset all price shocks would create undesirable volatility in output. To support communication and accountability, we therefore want it understood that inflation will not always be precisely 3%. When there are deviations, we will explain what has driven inflation away from target, and we will do what is required to get back to target. Most of the time, we should be expected to keep inflation within the tolerance band, with breaches occurring only when there are severe shocks. We will always be setting policy so that inflation reverts to 3%. Monetary policy actions have their main effects on prices after 12 to 24 months. So you should expect us to achieve our target over that horizon. Accordingly, we want longer run expectations to anchor at 3%, staying there even when there are shocks. This lag between monetary policy decisions and outcomes also explains why the 3% target is taking effect now, but will be achieved over the forecast horizon. The MPC has long emphasized the need for macroeconomic and structural reforms to boost potential growth, to achieve a sustainable debt path, and achieve a low inflation regime. There has been significant progress on reform this year, as underscored by the recent credit rating upgrade from Standard & Poor's, as well as South Africa's exit from the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, grey list. The global environment, nonetheless, remains challenging, so it is urgent to sustain domestic reforms efforts. That concludes our statement, and I will take questions. And as usual, I will distribute the questions depending on the complexity of the question. Right at the end there.
Good afternoon, Governor.
Okay. All right. I'm going to leave it with regard to that repo rate announcement. This is the National Pulse. My name is Ashraf Garda, speaking to you today from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, where we bring in to you the Chief Albert Luthuli Memorial Lecture. More of that to come later, including, of course, the Madlanga Commission right after this.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
From the first bullet fired to the last betrayal uncovered, the battle for the Dutton legacy has left blood on the land and scars on every soul. We've seen loyalty tested, families torn apart, and enemies made in the name of power, pride, and survival. Now, as the dust settles and new threats rise, the question remains: how far will the Duttons go to protect their empire? Yellowstone, Season 5, The Fight Isn't Over. It's just begun. Starts Tuesday, 18th November at 7 p.m. Only on S3.
SAFM commemorates Disability Rights Awareness Month under the theme Celebrating 30 Years of Democracy, Creating Strategic, Multi-Sectoral Partnerships for a Disability-Inclusive Society. SAFM supports and works tirelessly towards equity and equality for those with disabilities. Empowerment is key. Let us break the barriers and improve the quality of life for those with disabilities. Our efforts towards a better life for those with disabilities can only be impactful when we do so together. We do not tolerate any kind of discrimination. Disability Awareness Month 2025 on SAFM 104 to 107 FM nationwide, leading the conversations that move us. X at SAFM Radio and at Ashraf Garda.
Okay, so it's already been an eventful day on the National Pulse, covering the repo rate announcement, and then later on the countdown to G20. As you know, there's so much going on, and then later on we'll take in live the memorial lecture, the annual Chief Albert Luthuli Memorial Lecture. We'll take it live. I'm speaking to you from the University of KwaZulu-Natal Westville campus. So if you're around at the campus, come and say hi. Love to connect with you. But let's now go to the ongoing issue of the Madlanga Commission. Just to recap, Opa Brown Mokgotsi continues his testimony at the Commission. Yesterday, Mokgotsi told the Commission that he is a police informant and a crime intelligence contact agent. Today, Mokgotsi is expected to face cross-examination by the evidence leader, Advocate Matthew Cheskelson. So let's get straight to the Madlanga Commission.
You know, commissioners, there are so many members of the NC that I know, my friend. I would have just said Tato, Tepo, Mama. It's to be honest, once a meeting is arranged and that meeting, for him to say it was the last minute cancellation, it is because the leaders who were not coming here, the leaders were called to the tool. So the same leaders could not give us their names, could not give us their representative who were coming. I'm saying to you that because there are even few members now who left the ANC. I could have called their name or called to F, but we did not have the list. I was also going to meet them here in Gauteng. So I don't have the names.
So this meeting was about ordinary ANC business in the Northwest?
Not business.
What
Members.
was it?
Like concerned members. If you say one rep per region, it means Northwest has 4 regions. You will bring 4 people. But those leaders you are talking to, you'll never know who are they bringing. So that meeting, therefore, never.
And what was the purpose of the meeting? What were you going to raise with the MEC with the minister in his capacity as an NEC member?
I don't know what they're going to raise. It is them who have to come and give their political overview, their feeling in the province, and so forth.
But the chief of staff said it was your meeting, that you were bringing people, that the minister had scheduled a meeting with you and some people you were going to bring.
Yeah, commissioners, I was watching the same thing that you're talking about. I could have had answers of those people. I'm saying only the leaders who were called to Lituli, did not give me those that had to attend. So I cannot have the names, even if it was my meeting. And those people that were coming to attend for that meeting, it's a normal thing for maybe comrades from KZN or Free State to meet with the minister, is to raise their general concerns from where they come from, not me, where I come from, where they come from, to raise their issues and with a member of the National Executive Committee.
And have you been involved in any meetings of the NEC, or not NEC, meetings with the minister in his capacity as NEC member, other than that meeting that didn't happen?
Yeah, there was a meeting of regional secretaries, and only 2 of them came with their drivers, and the meeting could not necessarily be fruitful, but it took place. I was present in that meeting.
Where was that? Where and when was that
Ministers, State House.
And when?
Commissioners, I'm not good with dates, and this is a disadvantage, but it was last year. I can't remember.
2024, not 2025.
Not 2025.
I'm going to move on to another topic which has been touched on in part. It's the apparent advance notice that you got of the disbandment order. I'm not sure if there are any issues that the Commission wants to traverse before we go.
We will ask our questions when we resume, so let it go.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
We know that the PKTT disbandment letter was sent from the Chief of Staff to the National Commissioner's office at 17:20. That's 5:20 p.m. on New Year's Eve, 31 December 2024. That's when the letter went out. If we go to your chats, and this is a point that Commissioner Khumalo raised with you, at 11:32 on that morning, which is a good almost 6 hours before the letter went out, you were telling Mr. Madlanga that today is D-Day on the other side. And that he must stand back for his safety and business. And he said, this won't change my contribution towards the minister, although I made a conscious decision and I'm not backing down. Whatever help the minister needs from my side, I'll be happy to assist. Just don't want to fight losing battles, he says. And you've had an exchange with the Commissioner who put to you that the most obvious interpretation of your text to Mr. Madlanga is anticipation of the disbandment letter. You denied that.
I deny that.
And you have suggested that what you were really speaking to Mr. Matlala about was he had to pay today because it was the deadline for the January the 8th contributions.
That's correct.
How does that explanation square with his response, which is, this won't change my contribution towards the minister, though. I made a conscious decision and I'm not backing down. Whatever help the minister needs from my side, I'll be happy to assist. I just don't want to fight losing battles. Why did he say that if what you were telling him was you have to pay today, otherwise it's too late?
Yeah, on that part, he was talking about his safety and his business. Remember, I told him there are possibilities that the QKTT could come to your house. Now, and as I'm repeating it, the statement again, Commissioner, I said the D-Day had to do with the celebration. Now that I'm saying we will fight for all the way for him, and he's still saying he's also trying to please me that, okay, and myself also, my boss, I won't change my decision. I am going to help the minister and whatsoever. But the point is, the reason he said that he was trying to, I believe he was trying to please me.
Well, we have traversed this, and you have traversed it with Commissioner Khumalo. I'm not going to take it forward. I do want to put to you that what you were referring to was not deadlines for payment, but was anticipation of the disbandment letter.
So far, it is vividly clear that Matlala, I was talking to him openly. If there was a letter coming, I would have given him that letter. It's the first time that I hear even that the letter came from the chief of staff. And because I'm talking to him, probably I would have received the letter the same day and showed it to Kat the same day. So I only got the letter from social media, I believe it was the second day.
Well, let's wait till we get there, because before we get there, on the 1st of January at 13:41,
Page?
Page 62 at the bottom of the page, there's a text which you've denied, or a chat which you've denied. At 13:51, the text reads, "Good day, it's from you to Kat. Good day, I've arranged a meeting for Sabia and the minister must have a solution." You say you never sent that.
Page 62.
Sorry.
Yes. I did not send this message.
You deny sending that. I have to put to you that your denial is unsustainable, but we will in due course bring the technical evidence to show that this text could not have been planted in that body of WhatsApp messages. But it's a technical question. I don't want to take it further with you now, but I have to put it to you.
Oh, I hear that there'll be a technical person for this. It is my wish, commissioners, that this cell phone for Kat, when you are having those experts, perhaps I should be allowed to bring a same machine.
Sorry, the same machine.
Yeah, they are using the cell bright machine. And I've said yesterday, this cell bright machine, South African Police Service it has that machine. No one operates it. They are utilizing these other companies that I cannot mention. That machine, you choose the message that you want to extract. And I wish they bring it here on that day, they extract. Once they are done, they must allow us to also extract, with my person to extract.
If you want to appoint an expert to be present at the mirror imaging of the phone from the original sealed evidence bag in which it's kept, and to make your own image, we will make the necessary arrangements if that is necessary.
Yeah, not mirroring, not to mirror, to do what they did, the download, to show you from the phone, the day it was bought till today. Whatever that was taken out, will be able to take out. Whatever that was deleted, we'll put it back. things that General Mkhwanazi said there in Parliament, that they can do what. Like I said, commissioners, with us to run this.
Mr. Mokgotsi, I don't want to have this debate with you. I'm tendering our cooperation if you want an expert appointed to perform these exercises. When we get to it, your legal team can be in touch with us.
Thank
you. Let's then get to the 1st of January. And at 10:38 on the 1st of January, you send a message to Mr. Matlala, which we see at page 63, 10 p.m. 22:38. The message says the task team that came to your house and harassed you has been dissolved, disbanded. You see it?
Correct.
And your evidence was that you sent this message after finding the disbandment letter on social media.
That's correct, Commissioner.
And I asked you whether it was public social media or private social media. Had someone sent it to you privately? You said no, it was publicly accessible.
That's correct, Commissioner.
You see, I want to put it to you that evidence is false, because we have done a comprehensive search of public social media, and the earliest that any public source announced the disbandment decision was when the journalists who scooped the story posted about the disbandment decision on X at 21 hours 32 p.m. on the 2nd, not on the 1st, on the 2nd. So you had in your possession information of the disbandment 23 hours before it went public.
It's not true. Who did that study, I don't know how he's going to prove that that journalist was the first one to get that was the first to run the story, or when did the journalist get the story. I got the letter from the social media, and it was all over social media, and everyone, including General Mkhwanazi, General Masemo, no one mans up and say including the recipient. No one receives to accept to have received the letter. All of them say they got it from the social media.
Indeed, everyone did get it from
my contention, commissioners, is that the recipient of that letter is the one who leaked it, because it was against the wish.
I'm not accusing you of leaking it.
No.
I'm just putting to you that you were aware of the information before it was publicly available on social media.
I was not aware. There was no way I could be aware.
Well, if you can track the source from which you found that letter, I would be very interested in knowing that source, because we see no evidence whatsoever of any publicly available source speaking to that letter before 21:32 on the 2nd.
I don't know if I'll be able to find it, commissioners.
You're listening to the National Pulse.
Okay, that's where we're just going to pause from the Madlanga Commission for now, because it's 3:30, time to get to the news headlines.
Thank you, Ashraf. From the news headlines, Reserve Bank Governor Lesitsha Kganyago has announced that the repo rate will be cut by 25 basis points, meaning that the prime lending rate will decline to 10.25%. President Cyril Ramaphosa has described the G20 Social Summit as a historic milestone for global cooperation. He was speaking at the end of the 3-day civil society gathering in Boksburg, east of Johannesburg. And Northwest businessman Bran Mokgotsi has told the Madlanga Commission in Pretoria that he denies allegations he's deliberately targeting Crime Intelligence Boss General Dumisani Khumalo and KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the R24 westbound in Kempton Park has a crash before Barbara Road, the M1 southbound in Johannesburg, slow moving towards Crown Interchange, and the N3 southbound in Bedfordview has a stationary truck near Van Buren Road. In KZN, the N3 southbound in Pietermaritzburg is roadworks with traffic restrictions near New England Road causing delays, and the N3 eastbound, a stationary track after Cliffdale. In Cape Town, the N1 outbound slow moving on Plattekloof Hill, the M5 northbound slow moving towards the N1 Kuburg interchange, and Baden-Powell Drive in Stellenbosch is where truck crashes reported near Flottenburg Road. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Tuming Kapele.
Well, a very good afternoon to you. Getting straight into what's happening in the world of sports, starting off with rugby this hour, where Rassie Erasmus has made 2 changes to his Springbok side to face Ireland at the Aviva Stadium on Saturday. Ruan Nortje replaces Luit de Jager in the starting lineup, while Kwagga Smith returns on the bench. In the back line, Kanan Moody shifts to wing to cover for Kurtley Arendse, who has returned home after a concussion. It's going to be a significant one, though, for Archie Snyman, as he will be earning his 50th Test cap, becoming the 3rd Bok to reach a milestone on the outgoing tour. Meanwhile, former Ireland hooker Bernard Jackman says that the Springboks are completely or comfortably the best team in world rugby. Jackman believes that South Africa's resilience during their tour, winning tough tests against France and Italy, despite controversial red cards to Lotz Luit de Jager and Franco Mostert, underline their status as the sport's premier force. In terms of cricket, Proteas bowler Kagiso Rabada is in a race against time to be fit for the 2nd test against India, which is starting on Saturday. Rabada missed the 1st test in Kolkata after sustaining a rib injury in training, and test bowling coach Pete Botha says that they will give him 24 hours to assess his fitness.
Rabada is still being monitored by our medical staff. It obviously wasn't at practice today, but they'll make a call in the next 24 hours. As far as the pitch is concerned, obviously I had a look at it this morning, still 2 days out. So it's difficult to predict if they're going to actually cut more grass off or not. That will obviously make a difference. But what we heard is that, it tends to be a good batting wicket up front. And, it comes spinning wicket later on in the game. But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it spins earlier, like the previous test turned out to be.
Well, Lungingiri has been called in as backup. Moving on to football, South Africa have dropped from 59th to 61st in the FIFA World Rankings and have also dropped out of Africa's top 10. They are now 11th. And looking at other African countries, Morocco is leading the continent, number 1 in Africa, and they're 11th in the world. Senegal are 2nd in Africa with 19th overall. And just looking at Africa's top 5, it's completed by Egypt, Algeria, and Nigeria. But they are 34th, 35th, and 38th, respectively, worldwide. In terms of Europe, Spain remain at the top of the rankings ahead of reigning world champions Argentina and France. Remember that these world rankings are very much important because they will have implication for which pot teams are placed in for the 2026 FIFA World Cup draw. And just talking about the World Cup, the Interconfederation draw has plotted Jamaica against New Caledonia, with the winner taking on DR Congo in the finals, and Bolivia against Suriname, with the winner facing Iraq in the finals. Then Kaizer Chiefs winger Asanele Velebayi has admitted to being a bit nervous ahead of his first CAF Interclub group stages match this coming weekend in Egypt, but he's comforted by being surrounded by experienced teammates who are used to this level. Amakosi will open the group stages campaign in the CAF Confederation Cup against Al Masry in Egypt on Sunday evening, and they arrived in Cairo this morning.
Moment for me. It's my first time traveling to Africa, to Egypt. I know it's gonna be a difficult one, but looking forward to it. We've watched the league. I've watched the league before, and I know it's difficult, but yeah, we're looking forward to it as a team. Obviously for me, I'll be honest. I'm a bit nervous, but yeah, with the guys in the team, experience the Biza, Bruce Pavuma, all the guys that have played before have been, helping me closely, and yeah, with them, I trust them. So yeah.
Finally, in motorsport, Lewis Hamilton says that he's committed to driving his best after Ferrari chairman Jan Alkan told him and teammate Charles Leclerc to focus on driving and talking less. The comments came after Ferrari had a double retirement at last weekend's Sao Paulo Grand Prix, leaving them fourth in the championship, 36 points behind Mercedes and 4 behind Red Bull, with only 3 races and a sprint left. And speaking ahead of Sunday's Las Vegas Grand Prix, Hamilton says that he thinks about driving every single day and has not taken Alcan's remarks personally. And Leclerc has also agreed, saying that the comments show that the team has a desire to win despite a tough season. Hamilton says that there are no problems within Ferrari. I'll have more on other sports in the next hour.
This week on BBC Primetime, watching TV could make you a winner. It's the BBC Primetime Watch and Win competition. Just tune into your BBC Primetime shows, answer a few simple questions on S3's TikTok account, and you could walk away with awesome prizes. From thrilling dramas to jaw-dropping reality shows, the more you watch, the more chances you have to win. Watch, answer, win. Only on BBC Primetime. Airs weeknights 9 to 11 p.m. on S3. Your couch just became the best seat in the game. Yes.
So, Taryn, you've just graduated cum laude, but nothing says you're a genius quite like selling your car to We Buy Cars.
Absolutely. My car was an 18th birthday present, and it's time to move on to something a bit more mature.
So, where did you hear about We Buy Cars?
All of my friends are using We Buy Cars. I would have had legit FOMO if I hadn't used them. And it was so quick. I did it on my laptop while sending around my CV.
Smart move, Taryn. Graduated and upgraded. We Buy Cars. Geared for success, geared for you.
This November, step into a world few have ever seen. From the smallest creatures on epic adventures in big little journeys, starting 2nd November, to the frozen frontiers of our planet in Frozen Planet 2, starting 23rd November. Every Sunday at 6 p.m., discover beauty, danger, and the magic of life on Earth like never before. The best in nature dockies, only on S3. S3, open up.
The National Pulse with Ashraf Garda. Weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
Right, we are speaking to you from the University of KwaZulu-Natal's Westville campus, and the reason we're here is for the 19th annual Chief Albert Luthuli Memorial Lecture. People coming in, the event proper starts at 4. The actual lecture will be delivered just after 5 o'clock, and we at SFM will be taking it all in live, so do not miss it. It's that important. Talking about that, we'll chat to the museum director for the Luthuli Museum coming up shortly. But we do need to keep you up to date with what's going on at the Madlanga Commission. So let's do that right now.
And
I'm not asking how the dockets got to General Sabia's office. I'm asking how you knew on the 1st of January, on the 2nd of January, that the dockets would be taken to General Sabia's office.
I would say, Commissioners, common sense that I had then is still not common to everyone. Because unless if there was or there is something that probably I'm getting linked, there is a directive maybe from the Minister or the Chief of Staff or General Sibia himself said, bring those dockets, then you would say, he told me. So I'm saying it was my thinking because the Deputy National Commissioner, all the dockets in the country reports to the Deputy National Commissioner. And I can...
Yeah. Mr. Mkhotsi, someone told you about this letter. You say it was on social media. Why don't you just admit that somebody told you the dockets are going to General Sibia? I mean, it's not what is being put to you is the generals at the SAPS who have testified here have said it did not make sense for the dockets to come to Pretoria. That's their evidence, all of them. You are the only one so far before the commission who knew that these dockets are going to go to General Sibia, and you say it's common sense for you, an informer who's not an employee of the SEPs other than a contact agent, you say common sense they would go to Sibia. It's very difficult to, sitting here, it's very difficult to believe your answer. That is the best answer you are able to give.
I can make reference again, Commissioner. I remembered something. Yesterday, when I was speaking about Major General Loshaba's case, docket 38, now I remember again, this was the second time. That docket could not be found. And that my handler, I remember again, he had to talk to his commander that they should go to the office of the Deputy National Commissioner and give, so that the DNC, Deputy National Commissioner, could give instruction that he wanted the docket. So from the, and I should apologize to use the word common sense, because I relied on the first incident after the VIP protection from the deputy president when they were arrested. I thought that matter is investigated in SAPS, and I heard no, it's done by the presidency. Now but they are surprised why it is done by the presidency, because all the dockets belong to the TNC that time. And the second incident is when with the docket 38, it could not be found, I think, today. So yeah, I knew
so
also.
You were, okay.
Thank you.
So because of the Lushaba docket, what you came to know, you knew from that the dockets, the PKTT dockets will go to General Sibia. I'm trying to understand your answer, which
No, I'm trying to say, because even the handler and his commander, he had to find a way to get General Sibia to give instruction that the docket should come to him. So I also learned there that the DNC is responsible for all the dockets in the country. That's the little knowledge I have.
So you're saying you knew from experience. It's no longer common sense now. You say you knew from your experience in the Lushaba matter that the dockets, the PKTT dockets, will come to General Sibia. Is that what you're saying now?
Not the PKTT. If the DNC is responsible for all the dockets, irrespective that whether it's PKTT or it's crime or stock theft, I just thought, the common sense came on the basis of that experience that, because the DNC is responsible for the dockets, therefore. Hence, I could request the commission should establish who said this docket must go to DNC.
No, the question really that Mr. Chaskalson is asking you is how did you know, not a general inquiry. Thank you.
The next stage in this process is when you actually send the letter itself to Mr. Madlanga, and you do that on the 2nd of January at 10 in the morning, 10:05. It's at the foot of the page of 63. Now, 10:05 is 11 hours before we can find any public trace of this letter. But we've been through that already. What I want to ask you now is, why is it that you sent the message to Mr. Madlanga informing him of the disbandment of the task team on the night of the 1st of January, but then chose to send the letter on the morning of the 2nd of January at 10 o'clock? Did you have the letter in your hands when you sent that message?
Yes, I did.
On the night? You had the letter already on the 1st of January at 10:38.
That's correct. But I was also trying to establish whether is the letter authentic or not. I kept it, and when I saw the letter now on full swing in media platforms, that's when I sent him the following day.
Well, I'm not going to go back to you in relation to full swing, because in fact it was nowhere to be seen until 9 o'clock on that evening. But why did you think it was okay to tell Mr. Matlala that the task team had been dissolved, but not to give him the letter?
As I said, what if the letter was fake?
Well, then he would be very, very disappointed that you told him that this task team that harassed him had been dissolved, and it turned out that it hadn't been dissolved.
Yeah, I had to verify if the letter was authentic also.
But on your version, you broke the news to him.
That's correct.
Before you did any verification.
That's correct.
Why did you think it was all right to break the news but not to send the letter?
No, that letter was not my letter. I could even take it to Zambia or anyway. All I need is that Ket Matlala's, this PKTT went to harass him. It will be great news for him. I just said, let me check if this is not fake. Then in the morning, I saw it somewhere. Then I gave him a proof.
You're listening to the National Pulse.
All right, South Africa is taking its place on the world stage at the B20 and G20 summits. We know that. Telkom is proud to stand with the nation, building a digital future that reaches every community. So through reliable fiber, mobile and cloud networks, we're connecting families, small businesses and young people to new opportunities. Telkom's helping drive digital public infrastructure so services are easier to access for all of Telkom, the digital backbone of South Africa's future. So this summer, tap to be poolside besties, making waves on timelines and stories. Tap to be Malome Watsona with data to plug the whole family. Tap to be the Groove Gang, streaming big hits sun up till sundown. Tap to live the magic of summer with Telkom. Simply get a Telkom SIM, recharge with 20 rands or more, or sign up or upgrade to a Telkom contract and tap to win your share of 350 million rands and exciting prizes like petrol vouchers, data, takeaway vouchers, airtime, travel vouchers, and much more. T's and C's apply. Telkom. Possible begins here.
What's one more thing you can do for a child today? Could it be one clinic visit for their next vaccination?
Or say something that will really tickle my brain.
Maybe one healthy lunchbox snack to fuel their day.
Or say something that makes me feel good about myself.
Or one strong no to alcohol in your home.
Just one thing today could change our tomorrow. Visit holdmyhand.org.za.
This November, SFM proudly presents the 3rd annual lecture.
I do want to say that in the public service, there are also checks and balances. The fact that people may not have applied doesn't mean it's not there.
SFM invites you to our 3rd annual public lecture, delivered by Chancellor of the Nelson Mandela University, Dr. Geraldine Fraser-Muleketi. The theme of the lecture is Confronting Inequality, Corruption and Unemployment.
Let's hold everyone accountable and to standards, whether you have a GNU or not.
The lecture will take place on the 27th of November 2025 at the Indaba Hotel, Spa and Conference Center in Fourways, Johannesburg. Secure your seat by emailing us at rsvp@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Ashraf Garda on SAFM.
We will take in live the Chief Albert Luthuli Memorial Lecture, but for now, let's get back to the live crossing of the Madlanga Commission.
Officer Mabazela and your second handler, whose name you've given to the Commission. And you were briefed by General Sabia on both of these investigations at a certain point.
I briefed him.
You briefed him. And if I understood your evidence correctly, the understanding was that your handlers would keep General Sabia appraised of what was going on with your investigations.
To keep General Sibia.
Yes, to keep filling him in. General Sabia would need to know what you were doing.
That's correct.
Yes. Now, these were two separate operations, were they not?
That's correct.
And it would be important, given the nature of the different targets, to keep those operations separate.
No, not necessarily. You cannot keep them separate.
Well, let me put this to you. Kat Matlala was a suspected criminal. Is that not right? You suspected him of criminally securing the SAPS contract through corrupt means.
That's correct.
So it would be important to keep crime intelligence investigation material away from Mr. Matlala so that the suspected criminal wasn't given access to classified information from crime intelligence.
Mr. Matlala is not these amateur criminals. He belongs to this league of, like you say, he's close to generals. So me giving or not giving him information, he'll still have access to information.
Yes, but you wouldn't want to give him crime intelligence classified information.
That's correct. Except for if, like he has powerful media control. Unless if I want to publish something, I can give to him.
So if you want to leak something out into the press, you can get it that way through Mr. Matlala.
I could, not only him, but he's one of people I could use.
Let me put something to you. Page 10 of your statement, paragraph 39. You say there that you got Mr. Matlala to pay for your handler to travel to Cape Town for the January 8th celebrations.
That's correct. That's correct.
He was one of the passengers who Mr. Matlala paid for.
That's correct.
Why? Wasn't there a risk that you would expose your handler's details to Mr. Matlala, who was the criminal you were investigating? I mean, you had to give him a copy of your handler's ID book to book the air ticket.
That was not in the mind. What was in the mind was to make sure that the co-handler and the partner are both in Cape Town.
Well, you did have to give details, including an ID number of your co-handler and an ID book to get air tickets booked and paid for by Mr. Matlala.
That's correct.
So Mr. Matlala ended up with details of the identity of your handler, even if he didn't know that it was your handler.
That's correct.
You say it was important for your co-handler to come down to Cape Town.
True.
Why?
There was an operation to take place in Cape Town. Again, there were so many people involved. And lastly, if Kat could ever come to Cape Town, because the plan was to inform him in the last minute, if ever it could come to Cape Town, my co-handler should also be there.
You said earlier that it was clear that Matlala was never going to meet the minister, who wasn't even in Cape Town, or Sibia, who you were going to offer him as a consolation prize. It was clear that that wasn't going to happen.
Yes.
So why did you need your handler there?
No, instruction of the handler, I can't say I don't need the handler. If they say you are going to Cape Town, no problem, but make sure you are with whoever and whoever. That's what must happen.
So did General Sabia know that your handler was in Cape Town? Did he authorize getting Kat Matlala to pay for your handler's flight down to Cape Town, giving your handler's ID to Kat Matlala?
General Sibia didn't know that the handler was in Cape Town. He didn't even have to know. An operation carried out in that form, we could not even inform him.
But General Sabia himself was in Cape Town.
He was in Cape Town.
You told Mr. Matlala that. I think the relevant message is at page 85 of the annexure bundle. There at on the 8th of January at 17:53, you texted Mr. Matlala and you said, "I'm in Cape Town. Sabia's in Camps Bay."
That's correct.
Was General Sabia in Camps Bay?
I knew he was going to stay in Camps Bay. He was not yet there. He was on duty.
Where did you stay in Cape Town?
I stayed in Sea Point. Then I moved to, the second day, I moved to another hotel.
Did you ever plan to stay in Camps Bay yourself?
No, I did not have a place to stay in Camps Bay.
Can you go to paragraph 17, sorry, page 79 of the bundle? 6th of January, 10:55.
In that, where is that? 79.
79, indeed. There you text Mr. Matlala, "Morning, is it still fine that we meet tomorrow? I'm off to Cape Town on Wednesday for January 8th. Also confirming the house in Camps Bay."
That's correct.
What were you referring to?
To his house in Camps Bay.
Whose house in Camps Bay?
At Matlala's house.
He has a house in Camps Bay.
He said he has a house in Camps Bay.
And why did you need to confirm that?
Now that's another thing. It's work. You see, we know his house in Durban, both here in Gauteng. It was important to know, as we get closer to a person, I had to know his house in Camps Bay. And now that he didn't come, we never bothered. He also had to meet someone from, I kept, if you check on my messages, how I ask him about Camps Bay, it's almost the same way when I ask him about the iPad guy. I kept on reminding him, Camps Bay, because he said he was going to show us, there was going to be someone who's gonna do all those things in Camps Bay.
You're listening to the National Pulse.
Right, we're going to pause from the Madlanga Commission for now. A reminder about the upcoming take of the Albert Luthuli Memorial Lecture, which we will cover live. But for now, it's 4 o'clock. Let's get up to date with the news.
Thank you, Ashraf. On the top stories, repo rate cut by 25 basis points, and Mkhotsi denies allegations he's targeting Khumalo and Mkhwanazi. For SFM News, I'm Ondelambana, and a very good afternoon. Reserve Bank Governor Lesitsha Kganyago has announced that the repo rate will be cut by 25 basis points, meaning that the prime lending rate will decline to 10.25%. Kganyago made the announcement in Pretoria. The rates cut was widely expected. The bank has revised down its inflation forecast following the introduction of the new 3% inflation target. Kganyago says the bank has also revised up its economic growth projection to 1.3% this year.
We assess the risks to the inflation outlook as balanced. Against this backdrop, the MPC decided to reduce the policy rate by 25 basis points to 6.75% with effect from the 20th of November. The decision was unanimous. Members agreed there was scope now to make the policy stance less restrictive in the context of an improved inflation outlook.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has described the G20 Social Summit as a historic milestone for global cooperation. He was speaking at the end of the three-day civil society gathering in Boksburg, east of Johannesburg. The meeting brought together almost 5,000 delegates, including young people and women. The idea of the Social Summit started in Brazil, and South Africa expanded it from 14 social groups to 22. South Africa's Social Summit boasts the introduction of 7 legacy projects. Ramaphosa says the summit has given practical meaning to global solidarity.
What we are doing through the G20 summit by holding a number of other G meetings, which I'll speak about in a little while, that we are having a G100, a G1000, and that is true. We are having a G million because we are about inclusiveness, bringing people together, and this summit, possibly the best of all the G summits that we are going to have. History too will record this year as a milestone for global cooperation.
The High Court in Durban has heard that Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, the daughter of former President Jacob Zuma, played a significant role in inciting violence during the 2021 unrest. That's according to the testimony of media law expert Emma Sadler in Zuma Sambudla's terrorism trial. Sadler referred to Zuma Sambudla's Free Zuma post on social media. Her father was imprisoned at the time after being in contempt of court. Sadler testified people committed violence because they were listening to Zuma Sambudla and because the accused was influential as the daughter of the former president. Northwest businessman Bram Mokgotsi has told the Madlanga Commission in Pretoria that he denies allegations he is deliberately targeting crime intelligence boss General Dumisani Khumalo and KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. General Mkhwanazi was accused of interfering in a drug bust that occurred at Qalakabusha Correctional Facility in Mpangeni, KwaZulu-Natal. Mokgotsi had allegedly warned Mkhwanazi that police were looking at charging him. Mokgotsi is being cross-examined by evidence leader Advocate Matthew Chaskalson.
Why were you targeting General Mkhwanazi and General Khumalo?
No, I did not target them. They made themselves the target by blending with the person.
I see.
Yes.
So you're saying they told this person to give false evidence about what happened in that drug bust in 2021?
That's what he told me. That's what I recorded out of him. It's not. It is now my statement, but it is now said in the commission like that because he said that.
The European Union's foreign policy chief Kaja Kallas says Ukraine and the rest of Europe must be involved in any peace plan amid Russia's continuing full-scale invasion. The comments come as senior U.S. military officials visit Ukraine for talks amid reports Washington and Moscow proposing that Kiev should surrender territory and limit the size of its military. Kallas says all parties must be included.
What we as Europeans have always supported is a long-lasting and just peace, and we welcome any efforts to achieve that. Of course, for any plan to work, it needs Ukrainians and Europeans on board. This is very clear. Also, we have to understand that in this war, there is one aggressor and one victim, so we haven't heard of any concessions on the Russian side.
Recapping the top story, Reserve Bank Governor Lesetja Kganyago has announced that the repo rate will be cut by 25 basis points, meaning that the prime lending rate will decline to 10.25%. I'm Madlanga for SFM News Alliance at 4:30.
In sports this hour, RG Snyman set for 50th test. Hammer gets green light to play on Saturday. And Manchester United in talks to form NBA team. More details at 4:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the R24 westbound in Kempton Park has a crash before Barbara Road, and the M1 southbound in Johannesburg slow moving towards Crown Interchange. In KZN, the N3 northbound in Moerefier is where a crash is reported near Heathcote Interchange, and the N3 eastbound is slow moving at Marion Hill Toll Plaza. In Cape Town, the N2 outbound slow moving towards Bunga Avenue, and Main Road northbound slow moving through Cork Bay area. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
The best of the good life is coming back in 2026. But first off, Billings, Jonathan, Fez, and myself reunite for a road trip to the top beaches in SA. Kralbai, Camps Bay, Boulders Beach, and Nature's Valley. Don't miss the Top Billing Reunion Special, Thursday 27th November at 7 p.m. with repeat Saturday 29th at 3 and Sunday the 30th at 1 p.m. S3, open up.
What's one more thing you can do for a child today? Could it be one clinic visit for their next vaccination?
Or say something that will really tickle my brain.
Maybe one healthy lunchbox snack to fuel their day.
Or say something that makes me feel good about myself.
Or one strong no to alcohol in your home.
Just one thing today could change our tomorrow. Visit holdmyhand.org.za.
Steadies understands that victory in their own backyard is highly important before the going gets tough on foreign soil. While the Congolese Giants want to kick off their group stage campaign on a high note. This is the CAF Confederation Cup encounter. Stellenbosch FC versus AS Otoho. This Sunday, 23 November at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC One. Then on SABC radio stations at 3 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
The National Pulse with Ashraf Garda on SAFM. You're listening to the National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
Are you also getting that sense of excitement around G20, not just in terms of the meeting of these leaders, but just in terms of you, the fact that certainly if you live in Gauteng, there will be massive traffic disruptions over the weekend, different events from Birchwood to Sandton Convention Center to Nasrec, what happens and how all of that affects you as well. All of that's bound to, we're going to be talking about that too, right? Now, what about the repo rate? You may talk about that, the 25 basis points reduction. That definitely does help you in some way or the other, you know that. But we are speaking to you from the University of KwaZulu-Natal Westville campus ahead of the Chief Albert Luthuli Memorial Lecture, which the actual event proper should start imminently. So the lecture coming up after 5, we'll take the lecture itself live. You can comment on in terms of what you've heard today, some of the big issues that you felt were significant from the Madlanga Commission and anything else. 086 000 2032 to WhatsApp 0614 104 107 0614 104 107. And if you're sending a WhatsApp, 30 seconds, please. In fact, talking about WhatsApps, let's hear some of that right now.
Ashraf and the SFM listener, these two gentle guys, the commissioners, they never even give Mohotsi space. The way he was so afraid, especially today. It's a feeble voice. I was even feeling sorry for him. I feel shocked for him. I wish they can keep it up doing to each and every one who's interfering. People will tell him the truth.
Good afternoon, Ashraf, the guy who we are looking for in this country, the mastermind for the drug cartels and everything that Mpanas was talking about, is Brown Mokhosi. And I think they should not waste their time further because he is there in front of them and he's telling them got all the necessary things, all the security using them. So they must arrest him so he can bring all this information while in jail.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. It's Tariq here from Ashraf. Brown Mokhosi is giving us a criminal justice system a chance to redeem itself. If they can charge him with injury, he step back from that, sit and impose the maximum sentence on him. It will teach others not to make a mockery of the legal system.
You're listening to the National Pulse.
Okay, it certainly is the National Pulse. We'll take more voice notes, we'll take more calls as well, and we will cross later on to the Luthuli Memorial Lecture too, right? And when we can, there's a chance of some build-up around G22. But I can tell you now, talking about this lecture that we've referred to, the Memorial Lecture coming up soon, let's in fact chat about that in terms of where we are regarding that, because there's been a sense of anticipation, and it's come, of course, at a very, very busy time, maybe understandably so. But having said that, busy or not, there's a significance around the lecture and the overall name and the legacy of Chief Albert Luthuli. So I tell you what, we've got with me now the director of the Luthuli Museum, and that's Brian Klaba. I appreciate your time and thanks for joining us.
Yes, my pleasure. Ashraf.
In fact,
Thank you.
we're on your home turf, right? We're the visitors, right?
Yes.
And we thought we'll talk about a few things. First of all, just how, I mean, this is the 19th lecture, right?
Yes, yes.
How significant, why is this lecture that important?
Well, particularly this year, it becomes more important if you remember that we had that development around the passing of Chief Luthuli, the judgment in Pietermaritzburg.
Recent one, yes.
Recent one, yes. That actually then corrected the history regarding his passing in 1967. It also invalidated actually the findings of 1967 that said that he was killed by a train. So the recent findings have told us differently. So it becomes different because it happens under that context. That's the one part. I think also it becomes significant for us also in terms of the speaker that we have, and then a very notable person. And
who is the speaker?
The speaker is Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and then she is the Director General for the World Trade Organization, and she is going to be speaking under the theme reflecting on the work of the WTO for the past 30 years since it was actually established, but looking at the global impact of the work of the WTO. So she will be reflecting on that, and then she'll also cover other aspects of in as far as the work, the achievements, and the challenges that they are there.
And I know, I mean, you're the director of the museum, so do you then get involved in the appointment of the speaker as well?
Yes, I do.
Because my question is, like, how do you choose? Like, why did you choose her this time around?
Well, the Luthuli Museum actually has got a board or a council, and that is appointed by the Ministry of Sports, Arts and Culture. So each and every year, and then it goes into through its committees. It's got also committees of council, and then it goes through a process where it selects a speaker that actually basically will come and speak on a specific theme that is actually current, or that the museum or the council believes that actually it's worth engaging in. But then also remember, because of the lectures, like these are public lectures, they are meant to be a bridge, and then between actually then the broader public and people who are knowledgeable in as far as specific subject matters are concerned. So then what then happens is that the speaker today, as she speak, then she'll be basically interacting with basically the general public online, physically, during the question and answer session. So then that becomes what actually informs our council in terms of the selection of the speaker. And then currently, the current speaker we had approached actually then I think a year or 2 years ago.
Wow.
And then so she actually courteously said, look, I will be available at some point in time. And then so it has been an engagement with her.
Okay.
And I think actually that her confirmation actually then to speak actually was actually late last year, around December. So these are ongoing efforts. So when we finish one lecture, we begin engagement to try and find other speakers. But then you have those coincidences that when the speaker is chosen, then you find that basically then there is a trending issue. And then so the speaker then actually speaks then.
Links to that. And of course, she comes now in the midst of G20, which is all about multilateralism as
Indeed,
well.
yes, indeed.
Yeah, very
indeed.
much so. Okay, we'll leave it for her for the lecture, right? Tell me about the museum. You know, I've just come back from a working visit to Germany and then a
Yes.
holiday in France.
Okay.
So forget Germany. France, there's museum after museum and there's queue after queue.
Yes.
And I just do get a sense that we do have museums, but for some reason, it's not part of our normal lives that we actually have to go to museums and take other people to museums. So
Yes.
tell me about your museum.
Well, our museum was established actually in 2004. And then it came into being because of the generosity and the partnership between the new government and the family of Chief Albert Lutuli, to the point that the museum is located at the home of Chief Lutuli. So that basically becomes a significant thing on its own. In as far as our growth, basically since it was established, it has been fairly actually then gradual. And our museum, like many museums that came post 1994, and then we are growing. And then there are efforts also basically then to even get to the level where we will be having queues or lines of
Well,
people.
we all, I mean, that's my point. That's what we want to see.
Yes, but remember also then the difference between us and countries in Europe or in China relating to their museums or their history, their culture, there is no contestation. There is no two ways about it. So there is a sense of uniformity in as far as how they appreciate, they understand actually the origins of their ancestors, their history and all of that. So in South Africa, we have a situation where most of us, like our museum, like many others, came into being actually post 1994. And then our work basically as those museums, we are actually located in spaces that we are never expected to be located in. So we are in situ in areas that were marginalized. So efforts are actually ongoing actually to grow the numbers and all of that. But for now, we've had to accept that we cannot actually put much emphasis only on the numbers, but it's also basically the maintenance and then also the deepening of the appreciation.
Yeah, very
of
much
those,
so.
yes.
So what would I find in the museum if I visited?
Well, first part is the house, original house of Chief Lutuli, and then that was built in 1927. We are currently actually then maintaining that is our main exhibit. Then you'll find actually then exhibits that actually then provide you, well, give a history or interpretation of the life of Chief Lutuli, in as far as actually then his role as a public figure. As you know, he was a leader of the ANC during the most difficult times. And then so there's that history to be interpreted.
And Nobel Prize winner as well.
I was coming to that, yes. I think then second to that, then there is actually then the Nobel Prize, and then him being a Nobel Peace Laureate, yes. So you will have also interpretation of his life and the exhibition, how he came to achieve, to have that achievement, the series, yes. So there is that part of it, yes. But apart from those exhibits, we do also run programs, public programs that actually engage with the schools and the public, youth, and different sectors of society.
And I take it at some stage, I mean, when we talk about Chief Albert Lutuli, we're talking about a stellar figure in the history of not just the ANC, but in terms of South African politics. Right?
Correct, yes.
And somehow in the midst of where we are in the country now, it comes across as a name that often gets forgotten, maybe not by activists, but certainly by the average person.
Yes.
And the average person should not forget that person, because we tend to remember even the negative people that have shaped our country, right?
Yes.
How to what degree does his Chief Albert Lutuli's legacy and what he stood for and his mission, how does that impact people who visit the museum? Because what you also want to do is to, in your own way, change lives through his mission, and his missions can live through the museum.
Look, when they come to the museum through exhibits and through audiovisual presentations that we have, they get to learn more and to have a deepened understanding in terms of what he stood for. And as you know, that Chief Lutuli, in as far as his life, actually, he was a person who embraced otherness, if I can put it like that. And then he was a person who actually knew that actually South Africa's hope and future lies in its diversity.
Yeah.
So then you get to learn about that in terms of, and the challenges that he faced when he actually then looked at the different, in terms of his beliefs, what will take South Africa forward. And then so you get to learn about that in terms of him as a man who believed that actually then we should work together. We should basically, our future lies in our joint collective effort. And you get also to learn about him as a person who actually, in terms of his vision, he envisioned a South Africa like we see today. That's basically.
So in terms of today's lecture then, right?
Yes, indeed, yeah.
Which I think is going to start pretty soon.
Yes.
What are the expectations? I mean, who attends and then what comes out of it?
Well, who attends? Yes, then you've got your online audience, and then you also have got the public, the general public. You've got people who are interested in the theme, and then you've also got then there's people in business and people in education. And then, so it's a broad segment or a spectrum of people that actually will attend. So that is the expectation. And remember, the footprint because of technology, and then the footprint in terms of impact of such events is not actually even felt physically. It's far-reaching. I mean,
Absolutely, I agree with you.
yes.
Are you therefore able to, and I've often wondered about it, I mean, not just with the Luthuli lecture, but even the Mandela lectures, for
Yes.
example, that which I think this year was delivered by Francesca Albanese, right?
Yes.
That means she comes, she makes a series of statements, some points, and then what happens next? So my point is, when you have a speaker like we have now, are you able to say these are the key 10 points, and then we as a foundation, let's call it the Luthuli Foundation, are able to then plan campaigns and activations around those 10 key points so that the lecture lives for the following year as well, and it becomes a catalyst to activate important issues on that?
Look, it does become a catalyst in as far as the audience and the person who participated and listened to it. And remember also that the premise of it is dialogue. The premise of it is actually to trigger and then knowledge or interest and to give different perspectives. I mean, it's take for example the National Pulse itself, SAFM, and then we have people phoning in, and we've got people coming to speak and give deepened understanding on specific subject matters. The one thing that we do know, because of your shows, then we have a situation where somebody else, then suddenly their perspective changes or their thinking just becomes different because now I've heard Ashraf saying this, and then, I thought this was going down, but after listening to what SAFM was doing, then it tells you.
I think you're so right. Often, and we all hear this.
Yes,
we often hear people say, I went, this so-and-so thing mustn't just be a talk shop.
Yeah.
But the problem is it minimizes the importance of talking. Because when we say it mustn't be a talk shop, it suggests the talk shop is nonsense. It's just spaza. But the reality is talking of the talk shop is critically important in terms of mindset shaping, isn't it?
It is. It is indeed. It is indeed. I mean, if you can reflect on the history of South Africa, post, let's say 1991, 92, if you look at basically what, I mean, there were endless talks.
Yeah.
And even if you can take it within our own personal lives, and then talking, and sometimes as you talk, as we engage, and then eventually then some solution then suddenly comes. It wouldn't have come if you have started to talk and stop, let's say, on day 2. But you continue to talk day 3, day 4, and suddenly you find this solution that you never thought existed. And it's because as you engage, I mean, you are processing. I mean, you are actually, weighing options and all of that. So then that's why, I'm sorry, I don't want to come back to your show also then in terms of.
Well, you are invited.
So all I'm saying that, I listen a lot to SAFM and the talking really, really, really helps. And eventually it, to be honest with you, it also basically not prevents, but it actually enables people to get it to a much more informed solution, because the initial reaction of most of us as human beings when we get to engage with something we don't know is basically to lash out, for example.
So let's not dismiss the talking.
Let's not dismiss the talking. That's what I want to say.
Yeah. There's lots of cheering taking place. I think the event proper is about to start.
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to tell us before we wrap up?
Well, for me, it's that we look forward to the lecture, and I'm hoping that all of us are tuning in and to listen in, because it is going to be an interesting engagement in as far as the matter is concerned. Well, the topic that we are here about. And honestly, the speaker we have today actually is indeed going to enlighten a lot of us in terms of our perspectives.
I so look forward to it. Just last time, when you touched on SAFM and the National Pulse a few times.
Indeed, yes.
And yes, we as a show reflects the pulse of the nation. That's what we're trying to. How important is this collaboration?
Well, the collaboration becomes important from a point of view. Well, firstly, then if you look at your topic, well, the title of your show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the partnership is that as people phone in, as people engage, and then we begin to actually to know what people feel and expect. Like I'm having an interview now, and then we know that we are going to have online feedback, and then we are going to have people raising questions, and some even saying that it is a talk shop. So in a way, it becomes important in that way that this partnership with yourselves, and we hope it's going to continue. And it just basically is where I'm sitting. It's the best partnership we can have because I think lectures are about the national pulse. You can go to the Mandela lecture, any other lecture. And because most of those lectures, the topics that they've chosen, if you'll see, it's not only the Lutuli Museum. They are really basically topics that are that pulse society and enables people to engage going forward.
Absolutely. I think you've set a nice challenge, not just to the event, but certainly to us as well, to say, are we sure that we're hitting the nerve of whatever it is that is the pulse of the nation? So you're spot on that. Well, look, thanks for your time.
Yeah.
I know you need to go. You don't want to miss out on anything on the inside, and hopefully we'll have another chat sometime soon as well.
Hope so too, and thank you for this opportunity, Ashraf.
We're glad you're here, and we're glad we're here as well, because we're learning something as well.
Okay, indeed, boss.
Perfect. Thanks
Thanks
so
very
much. Right? Thank you.
Okay, bye.
The National Pulse with Ashraf Garda. Weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
Right, let's do this. We're going to play some of the voice notes because, yes, when we talk about a talk shop, I mean, actually, you talking is so important. I need to hear you. Let's hear it.
Good afternoon, Ashraf and your team and the listeners. Ramokoti is disappointing. Good afternoon, Ashraf Garda and the hardworking team of producers behind you. My name is Mpipumpiren from Limpopo Mkumeli village. Ashraf, I won't have a problem to see Mokhosi prosecuted for lying under oath. It will be a lesson to everyone. My problem will be one. How many politicians lied under oath in our country? How many times our former president lied about his Nkanja homestead? How many times do he lied about VBS loan? Did you still remember Matole Mutshekga saying there is no swimming pools at Nkanja, but only fire pools? Mbalola once said, we lied a lot in parliament trying to protect this old man. What happened to them? Nothing. Anyway, this is the country we are living in, South Africa. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. Thank you so much. Mpipumpiren, Limpopo Mkumani village. La.
Good afternoon, Ashraf and SAFM listeners. Ashraf, this evidence leader in the Madlanga Commission, I give him 150 out of 100. He is tearing Mokhotsi's lies of evidence apart. Mokgotsi is not going to pull through here. There is no way anybody's going to believe whatever he's telling us. This guy is ripping him apart. He's really confused and baffled, this Mokgotsi guy. Robert Mutu. Thanks.
There we are. Well, listen, many people feel what you feel. Let's get to some of the callers. What does Vuyizwa from Parktown have to say? Hi, Vuyizwa.
Hi, Ashraf. Thanks. Welcome back.
Yeah.
You know what? My concern is after the just the guy. This also, trusting people in their own. I just would know that he's name is if he comes from Ireland, why doesn't he go back home? Because he's left up coordinated that direction. For me, it's like, how do you do this? Where does he get his power?
His name has come up over and over and over again. And yeah, let's see what happens out of this one. I hear you. Let's see what happens around this one. Thank you for that call. Right, perfect. Thank you. Right, it's 4:30. I must not forget this. Let's get the news headlines.
Thank you, Ashraf. On the news headlines, President Cyril Ramaphosa is confident that a declaration will be issued following the G20 summit in Johannesburg this weekend. World leaders are meeting this weekend in Johannesburg for the G20 summit, minus the US, which is not attending. The Johannesburg Metro Police Department says it's aware of 7 planned protests, marches and pickets that are expected to take place from tomorrow. These are expected within the Nasrec and Sandton areas ahead of the G20 World Leaders Summit. And Northwest businessman Brown Mokgotsi has denied that his text message to Vusimuzi Ketmatlala on New Year's Eve in 2024 had anything to do with the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team, OPKTT. A full update follows at the top of the hour with Jwalane Tulongwebe.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N1 southbound in Fourways has a crash after Rivernia Road. The N12 westbound in Bedford View is where police operation is in place at Edenvale Road that's causing delays. The R21 southbound in Kempton Park also has a police operation at Atlas Road causing delays, and the N1 northbound in Midrand has a crash reported after Olifantsfontein Road. In KZN, the N2 southbound has a crash after the M41 gateway exit. The M7 St. John's Avenue southbound in Pinetown has a crash at the M13 highway, and on the N3 eastbound, slow-moving traffic at Marion Hill Toll Plaza. In Cape Town, Main Road outbound in Observatory is slow-moving towards the N2 highway. Victoria Road outbound is slow-moving through Woodstock, and the M5 southbound slow-moving towards Racecourse Road. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Tumi Nkgapele.
In sports this hour, Springbok lock Ergies Snyman will join an elite group of players to earn 50 test caps for South Africa when they face Ireland at Aviva Stadium on a Saturday. Snyman will become the third squad member to achieve a significant milestone on the current tour. This is after Captain Siya Kolisi and coach Rassie Erasmus shared the special occasion of earning their 100th test cap as a player and 50th. The only other change to the squad is in the backline, where Keenan Moody switches from centre to wing against Italy. Fill the void left by Kurtley Arendse, who suffered a concussion last week. In terms of football, Stellenbosch FC coach Steve Barker says that the FIFA international break was a welcome relief for them and was an opportunity to work on some of their glaring clarities or frailties this season. The Cape Wineland side have had a tough campaign in the Betway Premiership this season, having won only 2 of their 12 matches played so far. And Barker says the excessive travelling also contributed to their struggles.
Yeah, the international break came at a really a good was. We have played a lot of games in a short space of time, including a lot of travel. So it was good for us to just refresh, regenerate the players, but also an opportunity to get on the training ground and work at improving and fixing some areas that needed to be looked at, both with and without the ball. So
Still staying with football, FC Lupopo head coach Guy Bukasa says that he's drawing on his experience of having coached in the CAF Inter Club and international competitions as he prepares himself to serve suspension. Lupopo will open their account against Mamelodi Sundowns on Saturday afternoon, and even though he will not be allowed on the bench due to a 6-match suspension by CAF, the 38-year-old is ready to influence preparations and strategy heavily in the build-up to the encounter.
You know, I coach in your football only national team. It's your football, but it's high level. When you are playing national team, we win also some trophies with national team. But I coaches also some senior team like Rayon Sport, AS Kigali, New Kid Congo. I told you I played also Confederation Cup in the past. But now I think I'm growing now, and we decide to shift and to come back in daily football, because you know in club is daily football, but in national team we are working only for FIFA date for FIFA windows. So now I decide to come back in the daily football in a club. So I think it's a good decision.
Well, then Manchester United are in talks to form their own NBA team. This is part of Sir Jim Ratcliffe's vision to turn Manchester United into the most profitable club in the world. And one way the club could achieve that goal may be through joining NBA Europe, which is a proposed basketball league that could launch in 2027. So basically, the NBA is keen to capitalize on basketball's growing popularity across Europe, and now they have drafted initial plans for a competition on the continent with 10 to 12 founding clubs in major cities, including Manchester. Then, in terms of cricket, the Proteas have been boosted by the news that Simon Harmer is fit to play. This is after a shoulder scare earlier this week as they take on India in the second test as they chase their first test series victory in India in 25 years.
In terms of his fitness, he's fine. He bowled today at Nets, no problems there. And obviously, if the ball spins as early as it did in the last test, then a majority of the Indian batting lineup are left-handers. That brings him into a game a lot. And also, we balance him quite up nicely with Keshav. He can bowl to the right-handers. He got Rahul out in the first innings, which was a big wicket for us. So yes, I think it always depends on when do you come more into the game as a spinner. Is it first innings or second innings? So yeah, if it's first innings and it doesn't spin as much, I think he's still a good enough bowler just to control the game. And once it starts spinning, then he's obviously a danger. And that's the same for Keshav.
Ending things off with marathon news, South African marathon great Stephen Mokoka is set to line up at the Mumbai Marathon. That's happening on the 18th of January, marking his first major race of the new year. Hollywood Athletics club manager Manfred Sadler confirmed to SABC Sport that the four-time Olympian has received an invitation to compete at the prestigious 42-kilometer event in India. Now, Mokoka was tipped to win a record-extending fourth Cape Town Marathon title last month, but the race was cancelled just hours before the start due to severe weather conditions, and the veteran athlete had dedicated months of preparations to the local marathon, even opting out of the World Senior Championship Marathon in Tokyo. On that note, it's a wrap from my side for now. I'll have more in the next hour.
When love turns to hate and hate turns to violence, the truth is never simple. In Love and Hate Crime Season 2, real stories expose the dark side of human emotion, where identity, passion, and prejudice collide. Powerful, unflinching, unforgettable. These are the crimes that challenge what we think we know about love and humanity. Thursdays at 10 p.m. only on S3. S3, open up.
SAFM commemorates Disability Rights Awareness Month under the theme Celebrating 30 Years of Democracy, Creating Strategic, Multi-Sectoral Partnerships for a Disability-Inclusive Society. SAFM supports and works tirelessly towards equity and equality for those with disabilities. Empowerment is key. Let us break the barriers and improve the quality of life for those with disabilities. Our efforts towards a better life for those with disabilities can only be impactful when we do so together. We do not tolerate any kind of discrimination. Disability Awareness Month 2025 on SAFM 104 to 107 FM nationwide, leading the conversations that move us. The soundtrack of your life with Ernest Pillay.
They were more than just songs. They were the backdrop to your best days and the ones that change everything. The soundtrack of your life with me, Ernest Pillay, brings you iconic classics and hidden gems that spoke to your heart then and still do now. Whether you're driving, relaxing, or just remembering, let the music take you right back. The soundtrack of your life with Ernest Pillay. It's about your past, your story, and it's all right here on your favorite station, Saturdays and Sundays, 1 to 4 p.m.
This is SAFM.
Right, well, I'll tell you what, remember this, South Africa, we do know this, taking the lead or taking its place on the world stage at the B20 and now the G20 leadership summits over the weekend. Telkom is proud to stand with the nation, building a digital future that reaches every community. Through reliable fiber, mobile, and cloud networks, Telkom is connecting families, small businesses, and young people to new opportunities. And Telkom is helping drive the digital public infrastructure so services are easier to access for all. Telkom, the digital backbone of South Africa's future. So this summer, tap to be poolside besties, making waves on timelines and stories. Tap to be Malome Watsona with data to plug the whole family. Tap to be the Groove Gang, streaming big hits sun up till sundown. Tap to live the magic of summer with Telkom. Simply get a Telkom SIM, recharge with 20 rands or more, or sign up, or you can upgrade to a Telkom contract and tap to win your share of 350 million rands in exciting prizes such as petrol vouchers, data takeaway vouchers, airtime, travel vouchers, and much more. T's and C's apply. Telkom, possible begins here.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
To those facts and figures, as always, with Makwe Masilela. Makwe, you've got news about Mr. Price's interims.
Yes, Ashraf, the guys opened 91 new stores. Now they have 3,100 stores. Clothing remains their biggest division, that is accounting for 5% of sales. And the guys are still much of a cash that is gradually into 8.2%. And with credit sales up 4.3%, driven mainly by the account use. It is up 5.5%. Performance is reflective of consumer environment that remains constrained. Consumers are increasingly seeking value for money, so Mr. Price remains well placed, and their profit statement is per share up 6%. Current dividends also up 6.5%. And the latest Fed minutes released last night were very hawkish, casting doubt on a December rate cut, and policymakers expressed probably differing views in the path forward monetary policy in the US, and that helped the dollar to hold to their gains. And media that's true that we believe about AI spending bubble. And locally, we thought our creditors must present as our central bank. As I expect to reduce interest rates by 25 basis points, as our inflation forecast were aimed to flow in the similar adoption of a 3% inflation target. Oil prices were up after a larger than expected decline in the US interest, which overshadowed the report of the US 10 for Ukraine. It is up 0.5% to $63. Yellow metal fell slightly, retreating from two straight days of gains as investors depend on the US December interest rate cut, and gold is down now, so looking 0.1% at 4,082. Platinum is up 0.7% at 1,548. Ashraf aluminum, copper, and iron ore rose through news that Beijing is considering measures to turn around their Chinese struggling property market after years of long slump, but that dented commodities demand. Global market is ignited by the AI trade. So US job report by the JSC is down in US 0.1% and was been backed down by our resources. Rand seems to not point is 1% against the dollar 22.49 against the pound to 19 against the euro.
And that's where we can leave it, Makwe. Thanks for joining us. As always, Jimmy Muyaha comes up 6 to 7 for the full hour of the market updates. This is the National Pulse.
The Jet Set Breakfast.
How would you, first of all, select the iceberg? And then how are you going to tow an iceberg to Cape Town?
Yes, so when I first presented it, people said I was crazy. There should be about 5 icebergs that fit our profile. And that's about 1 kilometer long, half a kilometer wide, and 250 meters deep. So about 100 million tons of water. You put that into the current. You need a couple of super tankers to alter course.
Captain Nicholas Sloan. He's the managing director of something called Sloan Marine.
Michelle Constant on the Jet Set Breakfast. This November, SAFM proudly presents the 3rd annual lecture.
I do want to say that in the public service, there are also checks and balances. The fact that people may not have applied doesn't mean it's not there.
SAFM invites you to our 3rd annual public lecture, delivered by Chancellor of the Nelson Mandela University, Dr. Geraldine Fraser-Moleketi. The theme of the lecture is confronting inequality, corruption and unemployment.
Let's hold everyone accountable and to standards, whether you have a GNU or not.
The lecture will take place on the 27th of November 2025 at the Indaba Hotel, Spa and Conference Center in Fourways, Johannesburg. Secure your seat by emailing us at rsvp@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The National Pulse with Ashraf Garda. Weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
And I tell you what, talking about the SAFM lecture, the annual lecture, so looking forward to that with Geraldine Fraser-Moleketi, because she touches on some of the biggest issues that affect us. I mean, including the issues of, economic disparity and inequality, things that are coming up every single day in our lives. So looking forward to that. I want to see you there. And besides listening to her, like, come on, make an effort to be there so that you, as part of the broader SAFM audience, will be at the event. And hey, we can we can connect with you. I'd love to see you there. Let's see how many listeners of the National Pulse will actually be there at that event. Right. What I'll do is we'll try to cross to the ad hoc committee as soon as we can as well. But in the meantime, I need to hear what you have to say. So if you're up to calling in, feel free to do so on whatever issues tickles your fancy. But I tell you what, besides the Madlanga Commission, what about the Luthuli legacy? I mean, you've heard me talking to the director of the Luthuli Museum. Have you been to that museum? I have not been. I have to say, with great embarrassment. Have you been to that museum? What are your expectations? How do we? And then the broader issue of museums. And I mentioned to you having seen what happened at the Notre Dame Cathedral. I was there in Paris a few weeks ago, and then the Louvre, and then of course the Chateau de Versailles, or the Palace of Versailles, and the crowds of people. I mean, you have to book in advance, and then even then you get allocated times. How close are we to doing just that in terms of understanding the legacy of South Africa? Because people do it in any other country. So when you go to Versailles, does it mean that you support Marie Antoinette or not? Not at all. Or King Louis at the time. You also want to understand the culture, and people come in. So why? How do we popularize, museum going to culture embracing via the arts? I'd love to know. But in the meantime, I want to hear your WhatsApps. Let's hear it.
How's it, my brother Ashraf? Hope you are well today. Hey, Ashraf, my bro. Hey, you can see when this guy Brown Mokotsi is talking and replying questions and denying everything in the Mashanga Commission. You can see Uti, this guy is not even respecting whoever is in front of him. He can say whatever he wants, you know. In the event of denying everything, he can't even agree to one thing. And whatever he's saying is not. He doesn't even have any reference. That no, this thing happened this day and what at this time. Hey, yo,
Okay. Yo, as you
Hi,
said.
Ashraf. I find it very ludicrous and outlandish for Donald Trump to look for Nobel Peace Prize, whilst he himself, Donald Trump, wanted to invade Canada and Greenland over there. But now on the other side of the coin, okay, saying, okay, let me bring peace between Ukraine and Russia, let me bring peace between Israel and Palestine. Oh, I corner. Thanks. Bien Puma.
Ashraf, Brian Mkhozi showed us that this law of South Africa doesn't work. He's just playing with us, the whole South African listening to him. It's Freddy.
Okay. Well, I don't know if it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, then he wouldn't be called up before a committee like this. I mean, so one may say that this just pronounces how much issues have been rampant, but on the other hand, it tells you there is some degree of accountability. So look on the positive side around this. But I need to pick up your calls. To Cape Town we go. Patrick, hi.
Fine, and how are you?
Very good indeed. What's your point, Patrick?
Uh, uh, Brown is the playing with the actually, myself is an is that
Well, I'm glad you called in. All right, but
thank
whether
you very
I don't think it's as simple as just call the police. I think that there are processes that have to be played out, and maybe that's an area that we can, pick up next week in terms of what are those processes too. Right. Thanks for the call. Make it a habit. Let's hear from you again. Thanks for that. Right. Let's get to another call. As we and I'll tell you what. Just by the way, having been yesterday at Birchwood, the amount of people who came up and saying, hey, they listened to the National Pulse. I can tell you now, I was there, Keys was there, fully appreciative of that, really appreciate your support. The same thing happened today at the OR Tambo International Airport, getting here to Durban. People came up, listen to the show, love the show, really appreciate the support. Okay, we have, I think we've got Elizabeth. I want to just check up if we do have Elizabeth. If not, then we'll go to Prince. I'll try and work it out. Of course, we are mobile because we're in another part of the world. They're all connected to one. So, is that Elizabeth? Hello.
Hi, Ashraf, Elizabeth Rauda from Princeton. How are you?
Very good. How's it, Elizabeth? Good to connect with you.
I'm
What's your
good,
point?
Ashraf. You know what? I just want to put this out. I'm proudly South African. I'm so impressed by this commission. Watching the commission, I'm watching the inquiry. And you know what? The public servant who is now unemployable is highlighting irregularities that if I would have taken the public confidence, then this journey would not have been hard and so long and so draining. I've spoken to you previously, and currently, because I've highlighted irregularities and unemployable, I can't even get a job
In
at a
fact,
retailer.
you're a whistleblower in a way, right? By highlighting irregularities, and that
Yes,
puts you
yes,
out of the system.
yes,
Sure.
absolutely. One thing that I also need to say, Asha, if you are, I've listened to the Madlanga commission that when he's now a priest, he highlighted that lady highlighted things taken some criticism. And I specialize, my thesis was in oversight, right? But I'm unemployable because
What are you doing now? When you say you're unemployable, like right now, what are you doing?
I'm in consulting, but I'm applying for jobs nationally, right? And I've got the qualification. I was headhunted by in Johannesburg, and with my qualifications, they said as long as you keep quiet. Now, if you are appointed as a legal advisor, then you need to advise the oversight committee regarding irregularities, and they want to take you out. They take you out. But here in the Western Cape, we know it's Vieran, and there's a narrative out there. I feel that citizens, we need to become active citizens because time for our children, Asha.
Well, I agree with you. Listen, in terms of context, I don't know. Maybe leave your number. We don't always do it, but leave your number with our team there. Who knows? Maybe someone listening say, I need to give Elizabeth a chance. Although she's been outspoken, let's employ someone like her. I don't know. It may just happen, right? Just your last thing in one line. You did say from the outset, this commission shows you we need to be proud of it. Why do you think it's working, and why so quickly?
Asha, because you know what? We know the difference between right and wrong. We know history where we're coming from. And it's ordinary people like myself in the system who does not lie in just irregularities, even though the powers that be wants to eliminate you. That is why we stand strong, we stand tall, we stand proud. I yes, I should have told you, but I'm waiting on the judgment. I can't go into detail. Thank you.
It's fine. Thank you so much. Thanks for that. Well, I'll tell you what, when we talk about the national pulse and we talk about the national dialogue, well, I mean, this is just an example of Elizabeth being a manifestation of the national dialogue. Like, that's the conversations we ought to be having, aren't we? Right. So thanks for that, Elizabeth. Prince, we go to I'm in your hometown, Durban. Hello, Prince.
Hello, how are you, Ashraf?
Yeah, very good. Indeed. What's your point? Why aren't you at this lecture, man? You should be here. You should be at the Westville campus.
No, man, I can't. If there was a matter that, everyone, then I was going to be there. It doesn't seem like it's for everyone, eh?
Oh, I don't know. Okay, I hear you. Right? Maybe you're
Yeah,
right. I don't know.
if I had the accessibility, eh?
But you can listen on streaming live. I mean, we at SFM will cover the thing live,
Yeah,
the actual
but
lecture just now. So
it's not
listen to
for
that.
free, eh? It's not for free. It's live. It's not
No,
for free, eh?
SAFM live is not. Is you can listen on radio. We're gonna do it just
Say
now.
again?
It'll be on SFM radio just now. We'll cover the actual
Yes,
lecture just now. Yeah.
but you see now there's a limitation in it, eh? And I still have to have time to do it.
Okay,
You
I
see,
hear you.
this is the thing that I'm talking about.
You must try. You
But
must
there is
try. Please call me, man. You know what? That works. You know that.
you can't guarantee anything and please call me. Eh? No
I,
guarantee.
it's in the news anyway. Right. What's the point
Yeah.
you want to make?
My point was about the G20, you know. Actually, Ashraf, the only thing I'm expecting, only one thing I'm expecting, you know. At the end of the day, they implement basic income for all citizens in this country. Doesn't matter whether he's working or not working.
No, I mean, I
It
think we're
must be
missing the
guaranteed
point
that
about
it's
G20. You know,
inclusive.
G20 is not a South African project. It's a
Yes,
multilateral
but
global
it has to
project.
begin here because it's in South Africa now. Eh? It has
Yeah.
to begin here, and then everybody else is learning take it from there.
I don't know if it works that way. I'm just saying. I don't know if it works that way. Thank you for your call.
Yeah,
Got me thinking. Much appreciated. All right, there we are. Right, let's see if we can get. In fact, there's some WhatsApp comments that I can pick up on, and in fact, now hold it. Before we do that, let's get to the Northern Cape region. We've got Madi Buseng on the line. Hello. What's your point?
Oh, hello. Thanks for taking the call. I've got 2 points really that I'd like to make here. The first one is to find out if this person, Mukoti, an agent and they're using an undercover agent for some legitimate reason, why is he being viewed in the full public, in the full scale of the whole of South Africa, if not the world? I mean, I see that there were some points that he couldn't say, out loud because they were secret. I mean, my understanding is part of an agent, secret, is that he is going to be working under option. He has to legitimately see people that he wants to track.
That's why somebody called him James Bond as well. I mean, I hear you. They do what they have to do. Yeah.
Kind of what it is. So I don't know why he's not interviewed. I mean, I'm not saying that we should delve into that kind of stuff, but for right now he's doing working as kind of that kind of job. Or look by everybody.
Wow. Yeah.
Point right. It's about his birthday. The police were saying to him that he's lying about his birthday, and he's saying, something to the whole affair. Now, I know was correct under my name was spelled incorrectly. I also had an issue with home affairs when I came from the of citizenship and I had to come back and reclaim it, after 1990.
Okay. Can we just put? Yeah.
I left here with my correct birth date. I can't find my date had been was incorrect on the record. And the lady I was speaking to was not don't worry, just take it like that. Because I was around with a sense of things for myself and refused. It took me years more corrected. On the thing.
Okay,
And
I hear you. Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
So there are many others in this country who have got incorrect details on the ID, including the spelling of their names, because of home affairs.
Well, I'll tell you what. Thanks for raising it. And one of the themes today that I'm picking up is this thing about, things that people just talk. Well, talk is very important. You've done just that. So thank you for that. I can't solve it today, but it's important you've put it on the agenda, right? Thank you for that call. Just gone 5 o'clock. Let's get the news.
Top stories this hour. President Ramaphosa confident that a G20 declaration will be issued, and the Reserve Bank announces a repo rate cut. Good afternoon. I'm Jolani Tulo Webe. President Cyril Ramaphosa is confident that a declaration will be issued following the G20 summit in Johannesburg this weekend. US President Donald Trump had earlier vowed to reject the summit outcomes, prompting the possibility of Ramaphosa issuing the chair's statement. The G20 chair statement is issued when a single member differs and a formal consensus-based leaders declaration or communique is not reached. Ramaphosa elaborates.
We will have a declaration. The talks are going extremely well. I'm confident we are moving towards a declaration, and they are now just dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Well, without the United States, the whole process of the G20 is moving forward. We will not be bullied. We will not agree to be bullied.
Meanwhile, SABC sources have confirmed that the US now wants to attend the G20 summit. President Donald Trump had earlier said the US will not be attending. SABC News correspondent Sophie Mokwena.
I can confirm that it has learned that the United States of America now wants to participate at the G20 summit. We are not clear yet how will this play itself in terms of how they want this participation to happen, whether they would want to send staff from the embassy in Pretoria. It is the highest level.
The Johannesburg Metro Police Department says it's aware of 7 planned protests, marches and pickets that are expected to take place from tomorrow. These are expected within the Nasrec and Sandton areas ahead of the G20 World Leaders Summit. JPND spokesperson Xolani Fihla says stringent measures have been put in place, especially within the Nasrec area in the south of Johannesburg, where a hard lockdown is expected to be implemented this afternoon. Fihla was providing a traffic update ahead of the historic event this weekend.
That's on the northern portion, which will be closed off from the N1 towards Nasrec Road. And of course, then the southern portion will be converted into a dual carriage. And this is to allow contra-traffic flow. This is to accommodate residents of Amonde View so that they have access of the residential area. But of course, we're also keeping a close eye and a lookout for any protests that might be happening within the city of Johannesburg. I know that starting from the 21st, that's on Friday tomorrow, and up until Sunday, we have 7 planned protests, marches and pickets within the Nasrec and Sandton area.
Reserve Bank Governor Lesetja Kganyago has announced that the repo rate will be cut by 25 basis points, meaning that the prime lending rate will decline to 10.25%. Kganyago made the announcement in Pretoria. The rate cut was widely expected. The bank has revised down its inflation forecast following the introduction of the new 3% inflation target. Kganyago says the bank has also revised up its economic growth projection to 1.3% this year.
We assess the risks to the inflation outlook as balanced. Against this backdrop, the MPC decided to reduce the policy rate by 25 basis points to 6.75% with effect from the 20th of November. The decision was unanimous. Members agreed there was scope now to make the policy stance less restrictive in the context of an improved inflation outlook.
Northwest businessman Brown Mokhotsi has denied that his text message to Vusumuzi Kat Matlala on New Year's Eve in 2024 had anything to do with the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team, or PKTT. The text from Mokhotsi to Matlala states today is D-Day. This is the same day that Police Minister Senzo Mchunu issued the letter of the disbandment of the PKTT.